Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. One springtime in Christmas time, Santa's lead reindeer, Donner, became a proud papa. Donner and his wife named their little fawn Rudolph. When Rudolph raised his head, his nose glowed with a bright red light. His parents were quite surprised by the appearance of his shiny nose. Just then, Santa's jolly laugh echoed in the family's cave. Ho, ho, ho! Well, Donner, where's the new member of the family? After all, if he's going to be on my team someday, he'd better get to know me. Santa walked over and greeted the baby fawn warmly with a pat on the head. But Rudolph's nose started glowing red again. Great bouncing icebergs, Santa exclaimed. I'm sure it'll stop as soon as he grows up, Santa, Donner said. Well, let's hope so, if he wants to make the sleigh team someday, said Santa. Donner was worried that his son would never make the sleigh team and was determined to keep Rudolph's red nose a secret. He scooped up some mud and covered his son's nose so that he looked like all the other reindeer. A few months later, all the new fawns came out with their parents to be inspected by Santa. Donner made Rudolph wear a nose cover that was uncomfortable and made Rudolph sound as if he had a bad cold. Now don't worry about your nose, son. Just get out there and do your stuff, Donner encouraged Rudolph. Meanwhile, in the workshop, the head elf was shouting at Hermey. He had missed choir practice again because he was practicing dentistry on dolls rather than making toys. You'll never fit in, the head elf shouted. Now you come to elf practice and learn to wiggle your ears and chuckle warmly and go hee-hee and ho-ho and important stuff like that. A dentist. Good grief! The head elf shook his head and slammed the door behind him. Hermey started to follow, but stopped. No, I just can't. It's like he said, I'll never fit in. He picked up his dentistry textbook and climbed out the window. I guess I'm on my own now. Back at the reindeer games, Rudolph met a sweet doe named Clarice, but he was too bashful to speak. She asked him to walk her home and told him he was cute. This excited Rudolph so much that he bounded away in excitement, flying in the air, which caused his nose cover to fall off. His shiny red nose was blinking for all to see. Everyone gasped, and they started making fun of him. Stop calling me names, Rudolph demanded. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the other fawns called out, laughing. Coach Comet blew his whistle to regain order. All right, now yearlings, back to practice. Oh, no, not you, he said to Rudolph. You better go home with your folks. From now on, gang, we won't let Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then Clarice's father stepped forward and demanded his daughter return home at once, forbidding her from talking to Rudolph. Rudolph sat down heavily on the snow. Suddenly, Hermey popped his head out of the snowbank next to Rudolph and looked around. Who are you? Rudolph asked. I am a dentist. Well, I want to be someday, Hermey explained. Right now I'm just an elf, but I don't need anybody. I'm independent. Yeah, me too, Rudolph declared. I'm whatever you said, independent. Hey, what do you say we both be independent together? Hermey suggested. Rudolph was wary. You wouldn't mind my red nose? Not if you don't mind me being a dentist, Hermey answered. The two new friends soon began to realize the world beyond their safe and warm homes was complicated and dangerous. As they crossed the snowy landscape, a loud and horrible growl rose above the noise of the howling wind, and they realized they were in grave danger. Just then, a red-bearded prospector named Yukon Cornelius came around the bend. Rudolph and the elf jumped onto his sled right as the growling and hairy abominable snow monster chased after them. Soon they reached the edge of the ice and could go no further. Using his pickaxe, Yukon chopped the surface until the section of ice they were on broke off and they floated out of the abominable snow monster's reach. Out in the water, the little iceberg floated into a bank of dense fog. Without warning, the gang hit an island and decided to explore. There, they encountered a group of misfit toys, abandoned and unwanted because they were different. There was a train with square wheels, a bird that didn't fly, and a spotted elephant, plus many others who hoped for Santa to rescue them one day and find children who would love to play with them. Rudolph and Hermey felt right at home with their new friends, but their ruler, King Moonracer, would not allow living creatures to stay. Feeling sad and outcast once more, Rudolph feared his bright nose would draw the attention of the abominable snow monster and put his new friends in danger, so he decided to leave on his own. He quietly said goodbye as his friends slept and promised the misfit toys he would tell Santa about their lonely island. Time passed slowly. Rudolph did the best he could on his own. Meanwhile, Rudolph was growing up, and that made him realize you can't run away from your troubles. Pretty soon he knew where he had to go. Home. Mom, Pa, I'm home. They're gone, Rudolph, Santa said, entering the family's cave. They've been gone for months, out looking for you. I'm very worried. Christmas Eve is only 2 days off, and without your father, I'll never be able to get my sleigh off the ground. I'll find them, sir, Rudolph said. Rudolph knew where he had to look, the cave of the abominable snow monster. Rudolph's instincts were right. The abominable snow monster had his parents and friend Clarice held captive. Rudolph attacked the snow monster with his antlers, but he was no match for the mighty beast. All hope seemed lost. But just in the nick of time, Hermey and Yukon Cornelius arrived outside the monster's cave to help their friend. Yukon climbed to the top of the cave's entrance and used his pickaxe to drop a giant boulder of snow on top of the monster. Then yelled for Hermey to pull all of its teeth out. This gave their reindeer friends the perfect chance to escape the cave. When the abominable snow monster woke, he was quite surprised to find all of his teeth gone and realized he had lost all of his ferociousness. The once feared snow monster was now just a humble bumble. When Rudolph and his family returned to the North Pole with Hermey and the new friends, everyone, including Santa, felt bad for how they had treated Rudolph. Donner apologized to his son, and even the head elf made amends. All right, you can open up a dentist's office, he told Hermey, next week, after Christmas. As good as everyone felt, there was no time to celebrate. The next day was Christmas Eve, the biggest day of the year. But the fog was so thick that Santa was about to announce Christmas would have to be canceled. Then he looked at Rudolph's blinking red nose and knew its light could shine through the murkiest weather. He asked if Rudolph would lead his sleigh and rescue Christmas. It will be an honor, sir, Rudolph said proudly. The elves packed the sleigh full of toys as the reindeer took their places, with Rudolph in the lead position. Ready, Rudolph? Santa asked. Ready, Santa. Well, let's be on our way. Okay, Rudolph. Full power. First stop, the island of misfit toys. The misfit toys all cheered when they saw that Rudolph had kept his promise, and they piled into Santa's sleigh. Rudolph's nose glowed brightly as the sleigh climbed high into the sky once again. As Santa delivered toys to all the good children of the world that night, Thanks to Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, he called out cheerfully, "Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!" The end.